why a black woman that's to commit to that is reverse racism or a virtue signaling or something like that. What do you say to people who are saying that an inappropriate way to...
And that person will be the first black woman ever nominated to the United States Supreme Court.
Well, first we'd say that the fact that no black woman has been nominated shows a deficiency of the past selection processes, not a lack of qualified candidates to be nominated to the Supreme Court.
Looking backward, before today,
Yeah.
When was the last time that the president spoke with Justice Breyer?
I'm not going to get into details of his conversations or engagements with Justice Breyer. Again,
Can you say, have they spoken within the last couple of months? Have they spoken several times over the last year?
I appreciate your effort, but we are going to leave that to Justice Breyer to outline should he decide to.
How interested is the president in a bipartisan confirmation vote for the nominee, or would he be, open to a Democrats-only confirmation vote?
Well, Darlene, as you heard the president say directly, he's going to work in good faith with senators of both parties. I think we also should be clear about some of the games that we're already seeing indications of out there. We have not mentioned a single name. We have not put out a list. The president made very clear he has not made a selection. And there are, if anyone is saying they plan to characterize whoever he nominates after thorough consideration with both parties as radical before they know literally anything about who she is, they just obliterated their own credibility. So,
votes for previous Supreme Court nominees that were nearly unanimous in the Senate. And the president
the glory
today,
days.
right, the president seemed to sort of lament the current sort of environment that he's operating in his remarks just now.
His intention and his focus is not on navigating out the legislative game playing. It is on selecting and nominating an eminently qualified African American woman to serve on the court. And he will work closely in good faith with Democrats and Republicans.
That person could earn support from Republicans isn't likely to be an influencing factor as he picks among the possible qualified candidates?
Well, I don't think we should buy into that game playing.
Again, the UN chief said Afghanistan is hanging by thread. People are starving and freezing after the United States left the country. So is this what American leadership or America back look like? And can you say this is a winning foreign policy?
That was a lot racked up in that question. What is your question exactly?
I'm asking, we see things happening with ISIS that we haven't seen in years, launching big attack in Syria, in Iraq. We see people in Afghanistan hungry. Yesterday you were asking the question, what happened the last year, after 1 year president in office, in foreign policy, and you say America is back. So my question is, just yesterday we saw so much happening in the world. Is this what American back means?
I would say the president's role over the last year, as I've talked about a bit in here, has been rebuilding our relationships around the world that have been were frayed during the prior 4 years, reminding other countries around the world that we are a reliable partner, a reliable ally. But there have been a range of groups out there who have been compiling their own lists, especially given the president's commitment to nominating an African-American woman, the first to ever serve on the Supreme Court. And certainly we have been consulting and will continue to consult with them about their views.
I wanted to clarify one thing you said to Darlene, that he's been reviewing bios of potential nominees since last year. I think for those of us who covered the campaign, it may have been since the transition, no? That he's been reviewing bios?
Since the campaign, actually.
Yeah.
Since the spring of 2020, when he said that he was going to get a short list.
I'm aware of when he made that comment, of course, but in terms of when he's been reviewing bios as president, since last year. Now, he was inaugurated last year, so.
The president just said that he intends to nominate someone by the end of February. We have seen some slippage in past White House deadlines. The Fed nominees was an example recently. So how hard and fast is the end of February deadline the president just set for announcing a nominee? Or do you see a scenario where it could slip into March?
Well, the president said he intends to nominate. So that is, he's already been reviewing bios of potential candidates. That's something that he's been doing since last year.
What lessons did the president learn after the fall of Kabul, which led to its own refugee crisis?
As it relates to Ukraine or just in general?
I mean, as it could potentially be applied to Ukraine.
That's a very different circumstance, but certainly he leans on his decades of experience in foreign policy.
What would you say to borrowers who look at, the 11, I think the $15 billion number was one you shared yesterday, of debt that he's canceled so far, and they say, if he can cancel that debt, why can't he cancel my debt as well, if they're not in the particular groups and classes of borrowers he's canceled for?
I would say if Congress sends him a bill to cancel $10,000 in student debt, he'd be happy to sign that into law.